Welcome back, biologists. So while we're talking about vascular plants, let's get into a little more detail about their structure. Here's some different types of plants. Are any of these vascular plants? Ferns, maidenhair moss, mosquito fern, climbing fern, tree fern, filmy fern. So those vascular plants are going to be plants that have vascular tissue. In this chapter, we're mainly going to talk about how they grow in terms of non-reproductive growth. So how their roots grow, how their stems grow. And we're mainly going to focus on the angiosperms, especially those two groups, the monocots and the eudicots. So as a review, plants are composed of cells, tissues, and organs. I'm going to pause this video, pull up another video to review what is in our plant cell. This is something we talked about in Biology 1110. We're just going to review it anyway.
Both animals and plants are made up of cells. Their cells have many features in common, but there are a few significant differences. Let's look inside a leaf to take a closer look at a plant cell. First, we encounter a protective cell wall outside the plasma membrane. The cell wall is made from strong cellulose fibrils. Once inside the plant cell, we see the large central vacuole, which regulates the composition of the cytoplasm, creates the internal pressure that is characteristic of plant cells, and stores various compounds produced by the cell. Plants make their own food by photosynthesis in chloroplasts. Light passes through the two membranes of the chloroplast and strikes these green discs where light energy is converted to chemical energy. The sugar molecules produced by photosynthesis can be made into other molecules or broken down for energy. When sugars produced by photosynthesis are broken down, their energy is used to make ATP in mitochondria. ATP powers the work of the plant cell. Most organelles, like mitochondria, are found in both plant cells and animal cells. So the next time you pass by a plant, remember that we have more in common than meets the eye.
Okay, so now that we've reviewed the cells of plants, those cells can group together to form tissues. Tissues are going to be a group of cells that work together for a specific function. Then tissues can group together to form an organ. And the structures of our tissues and of our organ systems have been molded by natural selection. So both in plants and in animals, our structure has been impacted by natural selection. The structures that work the best end up with organisms that survive longer, reproduce more, and are able to pass those traits down to the next generation. If there are structures that don't work as well, those organisms won't live as long. They won't have as many offspring to pass their traits down to. So plants are going to need to take up water, minerals, carbon dioxide, and light. They get their water and minerals from below the ground. That's where their roots are growing. They get carbon dioxide and light from above the ground, where the shoots are growing. To be able to get water, minerals, carbon dioxide, and light, they have three basic organs. They have roots. These are the roots below the ground. They have stems, and they have leaves. Together, those are divided into two basic organ systems: the root system, which is everything below the ground, and the shoot system, which is everything above the ground. The roots rely on the shoot system to be able to get sugar, because only the shoots are going to be performing photosynthesis. So the roots by themselves would not survive. They rely on the shoots. However, the shoots rely on the root system because the roots are providing the water and they're absorbing minerals. So those shoots, those cells wouldn't be able to survive either without the roots. Both systems rely on the other. Okay, so now you should be able to tell me, what are the 3 basic organs in a vascular plant? We'll come back for the part 2 lecture to talk about how those roots and how those shoots work in a plant. I will see you later. Bye.